might be controversial, but I think Arsenal are the most unpleasant, nasty team. You've got to sort of play them at football, but play them mentally as well.
Nobody knows in this early stage who is going to be the biggest competitor, but I think we all know that Arsenal will be one of them.
Arsenal lead, and Liverpool are level. Arsenal are back in front, and Mohamed Salah levels again. A cross goal, Luis Diaz 2-0. Odegaard, lovely hit, and Arsenal level the game up.
Titles are not won in August, but signals of intent in title races can certainly be sent out. This is only match day 3 of the new season, but with the top 2 from the last campaign going head-to-head, plenty will be debated and drawn from the result today. Both sets of players will arrive at Anfield knowing the eyes of the world are watching to find out who wants it more. It is Liverpool versus Arsenal, the champions against the runners-up. It is a 4:30 kickoff this Sunday. We'll have live audio commentary of all the action here on LFC TV and All Red. If you're watching on social media and would like to subscribe, just visit the official website where you'll find out all the information on how to do just that. You're welcome along to Anfield and to Matchday Live. Phil Thompson and Gary Gillespie are down pitch side here in front of the cot with me. We'll hear plenty from the boys across the course of the afternoon. But first, let's head over to Peter McDowell, who has the details of Liverpool's starting lineup.
Well, it's one of those games, if you've got any passing interest in Premier League football, you will stop everything you're doing today to take in, just like on Monday night. And this is the earliest that the top 2 teams from the previous season have gone head-to-head since back in 1917-18 when Chelsea and Tottenham did it. And it's early days, but it won't stop us from making assumptions on which of these 2 teams is best equipped to go all the way. Been some really good news for Arne Slot this week. Alexis McAllister has trained an element normally, Conor Bradley as well, and he's made just one change from that team that did so well at Newcastle to come away with all 3 points. Alexis McAllister coming into that starting 11, Curtis Jones dropping down to the bench. So let's confirm that team in full for you then for this afternoon. And Alisson Becker in goal, one of a very few still here from the last time Liverpool won here over Arsenal back in 2021. Virgil van Dijk, Ibrahima Konate, Kerkez, Florian Wirtz, Dominic Szoboszlai, Alexis McAllister, as mentioned, coming into that starting 11 today. Mo Salah, 2 goals left now to move alongside the great Billy Liddell on 137, 1 for 4th time on the all-time Premier League scorers list. He's got 11 against Arsenal as well, so important to this Liverpool charge in these big games, as you know. Cody Gakpo, fresh from signing his new long-term contract. He got 18 goals last season as well, 7 assists in that title-winning season, 17 goals in the last 18 Anfield starts he has as well. And Ekitike, with his first experience of these Liverpool-Arsenal games, he could break a record that goes back to the 1890s if he scores today. That would be 4 in a row in his most meaningful games in a Liverpool shirt. And Gravenberch completes the 11. So it's Mamardashvili, Gomez, Endo, Bradley, Chiesa, Jones on the bench, Elliott in there as well. His 150th Liverpool game if he is today. Andrew Robertson and the much talked about Rio Ngamoa as well. Some week for him, turned 17 on Friday. Second youngest debutant Premier League scorer in history as well. Last 3 of these games have ended in draws. Arsenal with no wins in the last 12, and what an incentive for either team to get the win today. They go into that international break on maximum points from the 3 games so far.
Thank you, Pete. And we'll go into detail on the Arsenal team a little later in the programme. I'll bring you their starting 11 though just now, so you have it. It is Raya, Timber, Saliba, Gabriel and Calafiori. That's the back 5. A midfield of Zubamendi, Rice and Marino. Then that front 3 today will be Maduaki, Martinelli and Gyökeres. Eze, the big recent addition, he is amongst the subs, as is Martin Odegaard, who picked up that injury problem. We thought he would be out completely today. He does make the subs. Gentlemen, welcome along. It is the top 2 from last season. How much do we take from today then, whatever the result is, or is it irrelevant given how early it is in the campaign?
Well, I think the one big thing when you're playing your rivals, and I think Arsenal will be regarded as one of our biggest rivals to win the Premier League, I think it's vitally important that you get results, especially here at Anfield. I mean, in recent years it's very much been a stalemate between the two clubs, and I think that indicates really the closeness of how good they are, and there's not a lot to separate them. And again today, I don't think there'll be a lot to separate them myself. I think the odd bounce here, the odd bit of luck, maybe the odd little bit of brilliance, there's plenty of brilliance on the pitch, could make the difference. But it's certainly, you don't want to lose games against your nearest rivals, so I think it's important that you don't lose this game.
I think the two games, haven't they? 2-2 last year, so we've seen goals. We've seen obviously sort of conceding goals, both sides. But when you see the difference in the end of the season, it's obviously these two top teams finishing neck and neck in the games, but we've had such a better points balance, so they've lost it somewhere else rather than the big games against each other. I think it's going to be a fascinating game. I love the way Arsenal play. I love the way they at times can pick holes. The set plays are massive for them. I can't understand another Premier League team which has scored the amount of goals from set pieces, particularly corner kicks. So it's going to be a big area. And when you've got such a fine, balanced football inside, but you have that, even long throws, as weapons, I just think that it does create a fantastic opportunity for the purists to watch this game.
They drew too many games last season, Arsenal. I think it was only Everton that drew more games than Arsenal last season. It was into double figures. I think it was 12 or 13, 14. I mean, for an Arsenal side, it's just too many games to draw, and that drops you points, and hence the reason there was the gap between Liverpool and Arsenal come the end of the season.
One thing we've seen from Mikel Arteta in recent seasons, Gary, is in these games against rivals, they have been a bit more pragmatic. They've been happy to not lose those games. Do you think they'd be quite content to come here and not lose today?
Well, I think throughout the last probably 2 or 3 seasons, Arsenal, and certainly Arsenal fans and certainly pundits, have been screaming for Arsenal to go and get a centre forward to score goals. And I think when you look at their leading goal scorer last season was Havertz with 9 goals, didn't even make it into double figures. I think that would indicate where maybe there is a little bit of a weakness. They've rectified that in signing Gyökeres, so we'll just have to see how the season plans out. He's made a good start, as is Ekitike from Liverpool's point of view. So, I think 2 goals in the games that he's played already is a good return already from him, and that will help him settle in. But that might be the difference to close that gap between Arsenal and Liverpool this season.
Tom, let's talk about Liverpool's selection for today. We saw how well Dominic Szoboszlai did playing effectively at right back at St James's Park. Are you surprised to see the fact he looks like he'll do the same again here today?
Listen, we can all have our opinions on sort of team selection. I am. And I did think Connor would play. That would be mine. I think this is one of the big games. So I'd have gone tried and trusted. I'd have even brought Robbo back in. And I know Kerkez is in the side. And I'd have gone Szoboszlai, and he did really well. One of the few probably excelled at St James's Park. But I'd have gone with him and Ryan and McAllister playing in that midfield, which has been our tried and trusted for this big game. And that's why I know it's hard on Wirtz not to be playing in this game, but I just think it's sit and watch this one. You can bring it back in for the other ones. I just think this is that big a game.
It actually looks like that midfield battle between their 3 and our 3 will be key today, doesn't it, Tom? Because Wirtz is more offensive perhaps than what they've got in there.
That's what I'm looking at. Theirs is a proper 3 across the middle. Ours is more 2 and a 1, and I hope we don't get sort of outnumbered in there. That's why they are very much a 4-3-3 formation. That's how they would set up. I am surprised about Marino playing. I didn't think that he would come in, but he just adds another bit of height to the side.
And he played in both games, I think, last season, scored as well.
And was effective.
Yeah. In terms of real positives for us at the moment, Hugo Ekitike is it, 3 goals already, and I think he's really surprised us with how good he's been. I think we all thought he had talent, but he's hit the ground running, Gary.
Well, absolutely, and I think, it was probably the first time I saw him half an hour in, you could see the quality that he has. His first touch is superb. people were knocking balls up to him, like you think, well, he'll do well to control that. Yeah, he brings it down, he brings it under control, he'll lay it off first time. He's got good vision, he's got good awareness, he's got a good sense, a football sense about where everybody else is on the pitch as well. And if you saw the game so far, his little link-ups with Wirtz have been really, really clever and really, really good. And I think all round, he's been absolutely fantastic so far.
He reminds me of? He reminds me of that fella up at Newcastle. Isaac, is he called? He reminds me a bit of him and his movements and his play. No, but seriously, he is that sort of a player. And he gets the ball, he links up well, he knows how to drop in the hole, which I think is such an asset to a team. You're not just got your back to the central defenders all the time and you just want the fight. This boy seems to be a clever boy, so he's impressed me in that. At Eintracht Frankfurt, I didn't see enough of him. I've seen that he was a good quality player, but seeing him here now, he's a thoughtful player, and I think that's what you need to play in the Premier League.
I think he's got a bit about him as well. Like, I don't think he'll get bullied. I mean, a lot of centre forwards you see when Arsenal play, Gabriel and Saliba, the bully centre forwards. I don't think he'll get bullied today. I think he's more than capable of standing up and looking after himself, and hopefully he has a really good game today, because I think he'll be a handful for the two centre backs.
You've seen Tonali and Joe Linton pushing them about up at Newcastle, and he was just like that, laughing it off. I thought it was awful what they were doing, by the way, but it's how how Hugo actually handle that situation, and I thought fair play. The other thing about him, I think he understands the press more than what a lot of other players. And you go, well, shouldn't he get that anyway? No, a lot of front players don't. They'll come and they want to play, and they want to play when they get the ball. But in the modern game, you have to understand when and how to press. And he seems to have that in his locker.
The defence came under a bit of scrutiny after the game at St James's Park, because they were put under a lot of pressure, a lot of balls into the box, high balls, free kicks, throw-ins, etc. But it's also been scrutinised generally so far this season. Ibu Konaté's maybe not had the best of starts to the campaign. How, as a centre-back, do you go about re-establishing yourself and getting the confidence he had last campaign where he was excellent?
I think he's a confident fella anyway. I don't think there'll be a problem there. I think when you look at the games, the Bournemouth game, it's a difficult game. Bournemouth play with such high intensity. I didn't really blame him for too much for the Bournemouth game. I thought he was pretty poor against Newcastle. But in saying that, you're going to have your off games. I think the one big thing you would say, like, I thought Van Dijk, Szoboszlai, two players that were around him, I thought had fantastic games. I don't think there's a problem with Konaté, to be quite honest with you. I think he'll mend that, no problem. He has to be strong today, obviously. It's a massive game, big game, and especially at our set plays. We didn't concede an awful lot of goals from set plays last season. In fact, I thought we were one of maybe the better teams in the Premier League to defend them. You'll have to be really on top of your game to do that again today.
I disagree with Gary a little bit. He's got to cut out his silly mistakes, Ibu. His pace at times gets him out of a lot of trouble. But it's these just individual things which I'm thinking, and we as centre-backs...
No, I get that, Tom, but Gary, I don't think his confidence will be affected.
No, I don't. I don't, but I'm saying in his game, you've got to... As playing centre-back, the least amount of mistakes you play, the better you are. And I think he's making too many. And it's like we've seen Robbo in that first half of the season. I don't know what it is, but it seems as though mistakes come your way when you're not concentrating. So I think Ibu gets past the easy ball and sort of don't go and sort of complicate things by getting drawn into situations, and just do your job professionally and cover for a lot of other players.
What has helped at the back is having Virgil van Dijk there. Gary, you saw again in the game on Monday night just how dominant he can be in the air, how authoritative he can be, and he started the season, his numbers show, in really impressive fashion. Just so important that he stays fit, stays part of that backline. He's almost the team's most important player.
Well, listen, he's our leader, he's our captain, he leads by example. And there's nothing better than seeing a big centre-half going up from a goal kick and powering ahead above the centre forward and knocking it 30-40 yards back up the field. And the more you can do that, the more confidence and more belief that you have in yourself. As if he needs it. I don't think he needs it, because he's got bags of confidence, he's got bags of ability. He's the best centre-back in the Premier League for me, and he has been for a number of seasons.
If you can dominate
Yeah.
And win so many headers
Well, he should be able
against
to dominate.
Newcastle.
He's 6'5", isn't he?
But why come in the Newcastle game? How many did they have over 6'2"?
Yeah,
They
yeah.
had so many players, and it was important, and that's where Ibu with that second goal is not strong enough in the air against Dan Burn. I'm not expecting him to sort of head it, but I'm expecting not to let Dan Burn get a clean header at it. But Virgil to win so many against such a big team was so vital on the night.
I think the one thing you'll see today is like Arsenal will have looked at set plays defensively, Liverpool defensively at set plays, and I think what you'll see is you'll see a lot of balls that will miss out Virgil van Dijk. Whether Virgil will be like near post or in the centre, I think you'll see a lot of balls getting like played over Virgil van Dijk or short of Virgil van Dijk, because he is the dominant force in that Liverpool defence.
We'll have a look at the highlights of the Newcastle game properly a little bit later in the programme, but let's just pick out the headline maker from that game, Rio Ungamoa. What a moment for him. We've got two men who both have good experience of making an impact as a youngster. Tom Watt, 18 into Liverpool side. Gary was captaining Falkirk at 17. What advice would you give for this young man just now and how he deals with this?
Do you know, we're looking at physiques and everything we were saying about Ekatike and Wirtz, how the sort of slight lad. This boy looks like a Rooney. You know, when Rooney and a thick set in his thighs and his calves, this boy looks as though he's got control of all that. The youthfulness in him helps him in that situation when he scores the goal. Because I don't care whether it's Mo Salah or Virgil van Dijk, they'd have had a touch at that ball. But he's come onto it and he's hit it absolutely perfectly, and Pope doesn't even have time to set himself on the balls. But the boy, from what we've seen, is going to be such an asset. If he can keep his feet on the floor and make sure he listens to, he's got good senior players around him, and your career gradually rises. And he's only going to sort of have bit parts unless he does a Michael Owen at 17 and you're straight in the side and you're saying, no, you have to pick me. I think this boy is such a talent, and he's at our football club. He's only been with us for 12 months.
Yeah, turned 17 this week off the back of that performance as well. But he has to handle all that. He looks like he's got a good head in him. He looks like he's listening to those around him. He's said in his post-match interview about the advice he'd given. He repeated that and it helped him in the goal. But this is a different test. When you're in the spotlight, you're getting scrutiny, especially at this level.
Yeah, I think the one big thing is like we can't heap pressure on him at this young early age. That's hence the reason why I think you'll see him in brief spells coming into games. But as Tom rightly says, I mean, if you're good enough, you're old enough. Michael Owen proved that when he came into the side, as Tom rightly says. So, I mean, let's keep our fingers crossed that we have got another Michael Owen, because obviously what Michael went on to achieve was like second to none. But I think you could see really from the start of pre-season, the games we saw him in pre-season, he has that confidence, he has that belief. And again, I think you've got to doff your cap to like all the guys that are down at the academy. What they're doing down in the academy is absolutely fantastic, bringing these young players through.
And also the fact that players see this club as a pathway to the top. He could have stayed at Chelsea. He chose to come here, and it's paid off for him so far. Okay, it's time for viewers on social media to leave us, but our Matchday Live build-up will continue here on LFC TV. If you are watching this and you aren't yet a subscriber, then you can find out details of how to sign up online at liverpoolfc.com/watch. Coming up in the rest of our pre-match show, we'll hear from Arne Slot ahead of the game, plus Cody Gakpo on his contract extension with the Reds, as well as from Mo Salah, who's on his way very shortly. Just before kick-off, Steve and John Aldridge will guide you through all the action with our live audio commentary service. Then, after full-time, we'll be back down pitchside to look back at the game. That post-match show will also be available to listen to in the reaction on the club's official podcast platform. You can watch the full game on LFC TV from midnight tonight as well. And do look out for Inside Anfield 2, which takes you behind the scenes of events here at the stadium today. That'll be on Facebook and on YouTube at some point tomorrow. Okay, our social viewers are away, so just with the very, very special people just now. Let's talk Mo Salah. While he may not have hit his peak just yet, the Egyptian says there's no denying his contributions at key moments have to be so important to the Reds' success so far.